Ancient strategy, modern sales, one usable line per episode.
Last time, build momentum, don't push. Today, the difference between force and direction, and why working harder without aiming better is the most expensive mistake in sales. End of last quarter, I was behind on quota, so I did what I always do, doubled my activity. More calls, more emails, more meetings, 14-hour days. By the end of the month, I was exhausted. I'd made quota, barely. But I knew something was wrong. Because the quarter before, a colleague hit the same number in half the hours.
Same target, half the effort.
Same target, half the effort. I asked her how. She said, I didn't work harder. I just pointed my effort at the right accounts. That stuck with me. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why direction matters more than force, and how to aim your effort where it actually moves deals. My old belief, effort is the variable. If results are low, increase the input. More calls equal more conversations. More conversations equal more deals. The math is simple. Outwork everyone.
Simple math. Wrong equation.
Why wrong?
Because effort without direction is waste. 10 calls to the wrong accounts produce 0. 1 call to the right account at the right moment closes. The variable isn't volume, it's precision. Force asks, how hard am I pushing? Direction asks, am I pushing in the right place?
So force and direction aren't the same thing.
Think of it this way. Force is raw energy applied. Direction is where that energy goes. A river with immense force but no channel, floods everywhere and moves nothing. The same river, channeled into a narrow gorge, cuts through stone. Same water, same power, different result. The difference is direction. Sun Tzu understood this distinction deeply. He described it as shi, strategic momentum. Ren shi zhe, qi zan ren yi, ru xuan mu shi shi xing, and zai jing, wei zai dong, fang zai shi, yuan zai xing. One who relies on strategic momentum sends people into battle like rolling logs and boulders. Round stones on a steep slope, once positioned correctly, the slightest nudge creates unstoppable movement.
So it's about positioning, not force.
A boulder on flat ground, you push and it barely moves. That same boulder on a slope, one touch and it rolls with devastating force. The boulder didn't change, the direction changed. The general skill isn't in pushing harder, it's in finding the slope. Hold that image. It applies directly to how you allocate your effort in sales.
So the strategic genius isn't the one with the biggest army. It's the one who positions the army where a small effort creates a massive result.
Exactly. And in sales, the top performer isn't the one making the most calls. It's the one making calls where the conditions favor a close. They're finding slopes. You're pushing on flat ground.
How do I recognize the difference in my daily work?
Look at your pipeline. Some accounts have strong need, accessible decision makers, and real timelines. Those are slopes. Small effort creates movement. Other accounts have vague interest, buried decision makers, and no urgency. Those are flat ground, massive effort for minimal progress. Most salespeople spread effort equally across both. That's force without direction.
So the flat ground accounts are eating my time.
They're consuming your best hours and returning your worst results. Every hour spent pushing on flat ground is an hour not spent where the slope exists. The cost isn't just the wasted effort, it's the opportunity you missed while you were pushing the wrong boulder.
That explains my quarter. I worked more hours, but I was spending them equally on every account. The ones that closed were ready to close. The ones that didn't, I just pushed harder on flat ground. I thought I was being disciplined. I was actually being directionless.
Let's look at the specific costs of force without direction.
So what does undirected force actually cost?
3 things, and they're hard to see because effort feels productive. First, time displacement. Every hour on a low probability account displaces an hour from a high probability one. You feel busy, your calendar is full, but the outcomes don't match the effort. You're working hard on the wrong things. And working hard on the wrong things feels identical to working hard on the right things. Until you check the results.
Second,
decision fatigue. When you spread effort across too many accounts equally, you make hundreds of micro decisions daily. Which email to send? Which follow-up matters? Which meeting to prioritize? Each decision costs cognitive energy. By mid-afternoon, your judgment is degraded. The calls that matter most get your worst thinking, because you spent your mental energy on accounts that never had a chance.
And third,
learned helplessness. When you push hard consistently and results stay flat, you start to believe the market is the problem. Prospects are difficult. The product is hard to sell. Timing is bad. But the market isn't the problem. The direction is. Force without direction teaches you that effort doesn't work, which is the most dangerous lesson a salesperson can learn.
So the pattern is, I feel behind. I increase activity everywhere. I get exhausted. Results barely improve. I conclude that sales is just hard. Meanwhile, someone else works half my hours on half my accounts and outperforms me. Because they had direction.
They found the slope. You're still pushing on flat ground.
How do I find the slope?
3 filters. Apply these before allocating your effort.
Aim before firing.
Every time. Filter 1. Pain clarity. Can the prospect clearly articulate the problem your solution solves? If they can describe the pain in their own words, the slope exists. If you're still educating them on why they have a problem, you're on flat ground. Don't push harder. Find an account where the pain is already felt.
Filter 2.
Decision access. Can you reach the person whose signs within 2 conversations? If the decision maker is 3 levels removed behind gatekeepers and committees, the terrain is steep in the wrong direction. You're pushing uphill. Find accounts where the path to a decision is short and clear.
And filter 3.
Active timeline. Is something forcing a decision within the next quarter? A contract expiring, a budget cycle closing, a new initiative launching. When external pressure exists, the boulder is already on the slope. You just need a small nudge. Without a timeline, you're providing all the force yourself. And that's the most exhausting position in sales. Now, the one line for this episode.
Let's hear it.
Direction beats force.
Direction beats force.
Before you increase activity, increase clarity. Where is the slope? Which accounts have pain, access, and a timeline? Point your effort there. 1 well-directed hour outperforms 10 undirected ones. The boulder on the slope moves with a touch. The boulder on flat ground doesn't move with a shove.
So it's not about doing less.
It's about aiming more. You might work the same hours, but those hours go to accounts where conditions favor movement. The effort feels different, lighter, because the results actually match the input. 2 more tools. Every Monday, rank your pipeline. Ask for each account. Is this a slope or flat ground? Slope accounts get 80% of your week. Flat ground gets 20% at most. Most reps do the opposite and wonder why they're tired.
You're choosing direction before applying force. And the second tool.
Before any effort, ask, what specific condition makes this account likely to close? If you can't answer clearly, you don't have direction. You have hope, and hope is force without a slope. Redirect that energy to where conditions are real.
3 tools. Direction beats force. Is this a slope or flat ground? And, what condition makes this likely to close? All about aiming before pushing.
Let's lock them in.
Here's my takeaway. Force without direction is the most expensive mistake in sales. Time displacement, decision fatigue, learned helplessness, All symptoms of undirected effort. The top performers don't work harder, they aim better, they find the slope, then apply minimal force for maximum movement.
Keep going.
Sun Tzu said strategic momentum is like rolling boulders down a steep slope. The general skill is in positioning, not in pushing. In sales, pain clarity, decision access, and active timelines. These are the slopes. Find them, aim your effort there, let gravity do the work. The principle, don't push harder. Point better. The slope is the strategy.
Drill zone. Come back here before your next Monday pipeline review. It's Monday morning. You're looking at your pipeline. 15 open accounts. Your instinct says, work them all equally. Give everyone attention. What do you tell yourself?
Direction beats force.
Again, like you've seen the difference between a boulder on flat ground and one on a slope.
Direction beats force.
Good. Now the ranking.
Is this a slope or flat ground?
And the condition check.
What specific condition makes this account likely to close?
The sequence. Pipeline review starts. Reset. Direction beats force. Rank. Slope or flat ground. Verify. What condition makes this likely to close? Point your best hours at the steepest slopes. Let flat ground wait. Don't push everything. Aim precisely.
Reset, rank, verify.
This week's test. Take your pipeline. Sort every account into slope or flat ground using the 3 filters: pain, access, timeline. Spend 80% of your time on slopes this week. Track what happens to your results.
And the flat ground accounts?
Don't abandon them. Give them the value cadence from last episode. Low effort value touches. If conditions change, they become slopes. But until then, they don't deserve your best hours. Your best hours go where gravity helps.
Which tool should I try first?
Whichever matches your week. A. Direction beats force. B. Slope or flat ground. Or C. What condition makes this likely to close? Drop your pick in the comments. I read every one.
What's next?
Why subtle beats strong, and how the lightest touch in the right place moves more than the hardest push in the wrong one. Same calm tone, one usable line.
Ancient strategy, modern sales, one usable line per episode.